Once more onto the breach, dear friends. Hey, it's Matt from Unbearable 73. We're back with a wrestling reaction. This time we're doing 10 times WWE rewrote their own history.
Whether it's a revise, a
From
retcon,
WrestleMania.
Whether it's a revise, a retcon, or a full-on rewrite, World Wrestling Entertainment have not been shy about meddling with their own history. There are various reasons for this, from saving face and avoiding legal issues to exaggerating accomplishments and progressing storylines, but it can be pretty maddening for long-time fans who witness something happen one way just for it to be retold through WWE's own filter. When looking for the WWE history book, perhaps you should check the fiction section first. I'm Adam Pachisi from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are 10 times WWE rewrote their own history. Join us.
Now, basically, this is something, there could be a video called, this is 5,000 times WWE rewrote their own history, because retcons in wrestling are, I mean, every time you do a face or heel turn, you can have a retcon.
Number 10, getting the F out. On May 6, 2002, WWE officially changed its name from the World Wrestling Federation to World Wrestling Entertainment. Fans were well prepped for the switch of initials thanks to an effectively amusing ad campaign about the company getting the F out. Now, Vince McMahon would have you believe that the decision to switch from WWF to WWE was about emphasizing the entertainment aspect of his brand of sports entertainment while moving further away from that disgusting pro-wrestling nonsense. In truth, WWE fought the change necessitated after WWE breached an agreement with UK-based conservation group the World Wildlife Fund every single step of the way. The Panda people laid the smackdown on Vince's legal team in court, resulting in WWE being unable to use the Scratch logo that debuted in 1998, as well as the WWF letters in specified circumstances. WWE attempted to spin the ruling in their favor with a frankly laughable press release, but anyone who had actually followed the saga knew that WWE was simply in the wrong and paid for their mistakes. Number 9, Kane's burns.
So, yeah, that was a real thing. Honestly, the World Wildlife Foundation did not benefit from this. A lot of wrestling fans still to this day won't give them money or anything. And whether you like it or not, there are more wrestling fans than there are the World Wildlife Foundation. So sometimes they could have said, look, you can keep WWF, just promote us. Just promote us with you. And they probably would have made a lot more money out of it.
From the get-go, it was stressed by WWE that Kane wore a mask to hide the burns he sustained to his face in a fire that The Undertaker had set in an attempt to burn down the family funeral home and murder his younger sibling. Brothers, eh? This really added to the Big Red Machine's aura and also made fans want to see just how disfigured the ugly freak was under the hood. We got the occasional inconclusive glimpse before Kane lost a World Heavyweight title versus mask match against Triple H on the June 23, 2003 episode of Raw. And then we got a load of smudged mascara and a skullet. So what happened here then? Well, it's entirely possible that WWE didn't think ahead, shocking I know, and plan for the possibility of Kane taking his mask off when they penned his elaborate backstory.
Yep.
Scrambling for an explanation of the absence of scarred flesh, it was instead claimed that the burns the Devil's favorite demon had suffered were merely psychological. So, was it also
all they had to do?
X's head
All they had to do was have like him go corporate and Vince say, I'll give you cosmetic surgery. It's like sometimes they don't think when they do these stupid storylines. But to this day, I look on the hideously scarred face of Kane and shudder. To this day, it gives me nightmares every time he comes on screen and I see the hideously scarred right face.
When they were visibly repulsed after unmasking him backstage in 2000. Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder. Number 8, Hogan slamming Andre. In the main event of WrestleMania 3, the irresistible force met the immovable object when Hulk Hogan defended his WWE title against Andre the Giant. The Hulkster won the match, becoming the first person in history to both slam and pin the 7-footer. Well, at least that's how WWE tells it. The Hulkster himself will tell it that he slammed Andre as a shoot brother, tearing every muscle in his back in the process, but that's another lie for another time. In reality, Andre had been slammed multiple times.
Okay, so whatever WrestleMania has either against Hogan, you can find interviews with Hogan where he talks about this. And there, okay, yeah, in kayfabe, it was a shoot, right? In real life, he talked about how honored he was that Andre allowed him to slam, because Andre is not a lumbering giant. Andre back then could do drop kicks and flips and stuff. He didn't do them in WWE on camera because he portrayed a plotting giant. Andre was a great athlete. And when you're wrestling, the other guy has to let you do stuff. They have to sell it. And Hogan, they weren't sure if Andre was going to put Hogan over, because Hogan was peaking, and this would have been the final pushover to put Hogan on the peak. And because Andre heel turn, blah, blah, blah. And Hogan says Andre allowed and sold the move. So Andre could have, so there's no Andre knew it was coming. And if it didn't, there's no way he would have got Andre up without Andre assisting and allowing it. Okay, and Hogan says that, and he said he was privileged for Andre to sell for him and to put him over like that. He's said that on multiple occasions. So WrestleMania here either didn't do their research or has a bias against Hogan.
Times by many different people. Harley Race, Kamala, Stan Hansen, and even Hogan himself, among others, had slammed him in the past. And you know what? Hogan previously did it on a major WWE show, no less. Now, Andre taking a slam wasn't exactly a regular occurrence, and most of these happened in other territories or overseas in Japan, but they did happen. Same goes for the big man losing, even if he did have a healthy win percentage. Hogg's feat at Mania 3 is impressive enough in itself, yet WWE feel the need to inflate it along with the show's highly disputed attendance figure. Number 7, who?
No, the issue here is it was significant because Andre was putting Hogan over. Not because of the slam. The slam is like the signature moment, but Andre was putting Hogan over, right? That's something that some people who watch wrestling don't understand. When you put the other guy over, when you basically, some say it's doing the job. It's not doing the job. Doing the job is getting your ass kicked, but it's a lower order of that. But when you willing as you're a top guy and you take a loss for a guy, a new up and comer, that's called putting him over.
Who's your pappy? Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero's feud took a personal turn in the summer of 2005 when Latino Heat revealed his big secret and confessed that he was the biological father of Rey's son Dominic. As the story went, Guerrero sired a child while he and wife Vicky were on the outs. After Eddie proved unwilling to raise the boy himself, Mysterio and his wife Angie adopted him. The soap opera twist led to a ladder match for the custody of Dominic at SummerSlam 2005, wrestling, which was won by Rey. He may have won custody, but according to the storyline, Dominic was Eddie's biological child. Fast forward 15 years, Dom decides to get into the business himself and is paired with his actual biological father. WWE dropped the pretense that Dominic was a Guerrero by blood while playfully referencing and poking fun at his previous kayfabe lineage. WWE obviously couldn't perpetuate the falsehood following Eddie's passing and weren't going to meddle with a proper father-son team when Dominic stepped into the ring, but it's funny how such a major plot point has been disregarded. Number 6,
Yeah, how do I put it? If the Guerrero family wanted to do that, they would have. So there are a lot of legacy storylines like that where, where you do things and the family's okay with it because they understand the business and,
Goldberg's run-in. Speaking of Eddie, how about that time he beats Brock Lesnar in the main event of No Way Out 2004 to win the WWE title? What a moment it was when Latino Heat countered the F5 with a DDT onto the title belt and hit the frog splash for a feel-good 3 count. All that after battling the Beast for 30 minutes with no help whatsoever. Well, that is apart from the timely assist provided by Goldberg after the referee was bumped, but let's not bring that little wrinkle up, shall we? Yes, even though WWE sneakily omit that part when celebrating Guerrero's title triumph, it did happen. The man had shown up earlier in the night and attacked the next big thing prior to being removed from the arena by security. He must have managed to break free and sneak back in because he came back later to spear Lesnar while Brian Hebner was taking a nap. To be fair, it was only a false finish and didn't lead directly to the finish itself, but it's pretty amusing how WWE scrubs it from the match's recap. Number 5, The Monday Night War. I mean, where do we even start with this one? They say history is written by the victors, and you don't have to convince me twice after seeing how WWE likes to tell the tale of the Monday Night War. If you listen to WWE's version of their mid to late 90s feud with WCW, you will hear of how Ted Turner bought all of the McMahon-made stars due to his limitless checkbook, how WCW played dirty by doing heinous things like revealing the results of WWE's pre-taped shows live on air, and how D-Generation X turned the tide by invading WCW with a tank. Honestly, the picture WWE...
Admittedly, the WCW invasion there... I don't know if they're actually really outside of WCW arena, but it was funny with DX doing it.
He paints is so distorted and one-sided, it is beyond ridiculous. It wouldn't be so bad, but their version of the so-called war is considered legit by many fans who only really know of it because of WWE-produced media. To them, the valiant mum-and-pop promotion managed to overcome the evil corporation due to their creativity, determination, superior storytelling, and homegrown stars. The reality is, of course, far, far different. Number 4, Jamaican Me Crazy. When Kofi Kingston burst onto the scene in 2008, much was made of his Jamaican heritage. Pre-debut vignettes showed him on the beaches of his homeland, he had reggae-inflected entrance music, wore Jamaican flag colours on his gear, and, oh yeah, he was called Kofi Kingston and spoke with a heavy Jamaican accent. At some point, shortly before Bragging Rights 2009, Kofi simply dropped the accent and started being billed from his real home country of Ghana, West Africa. Naturally, that cheeky DX chappie, Triple H, couldn't just let it slide and called Kingston out about his disappearing accent during a promo. And that was that, to be honest. No explanation or reasoning for the change, just a wink and a nod and a friendly crotch.
Yeah. Someone must have been like, this Jamaican stuff ain't working, Kofi. Just be yourself.
Stop and time to move on. And that was for the best, really, since the New Day member only did the Jamaican thing on the indies because Prince Nana was doing a Ghanaian Prince gimmick in Ring of Honor and he didn't want to be accused of trying to copy him. I mean, the accent may be gone, but I wish those Bumberclarts would bring back that banging SOS theme. Number 3, Benoit. Right, so we go from something relatively light and playful to this. Look, you cannot talk about WWE history without talking about Chris Benoit. The Rabid Wolverine was a major part of it between 2000 and 2007, though WWE have went to great lengths to erase him from their history ever since the Benoit family tragedy. Faced with an unprecedented situation, the company decided to refrain from mentioning Benoit's name going forward. His name still appears in the history books, but Chris Benoit isn't searchable on the network and his name and likeness doesn't appear on WWE programming wherever possible. So, when the Radicals jumping from WCW to WWE gets brought up, it's Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn who are shown. When WrestleMania 20 is discussed, the big matches were Eddie's WWE title victory over Kurt Angle and The Undertaker's return against Kane, not the Canadian Crippler's World Heavyweight title win in the main event. Some may argue that Benoit's career shouldn't be overlooked, but given the circumstances, WWE really had no choice but to take the position they have in distancing themselves from him. Number 2.
For those who don't know, Chris Benoit went crazy and murdered his wife, Nancy, who was, in running as a woman, and I don't know if he had 1 or 2 kids, but he murdered them as well, and then killed himself. Sad, like... Almost like when you first heard it happen, we were like, "This has got to be a kayfabe thing, right?" Like they're gonna have it like that, they're gonna have like the Undertaker summon Nancy from the dead, or some crazy nonsense like that. But no, it happened, and I understand WWE's thing. You can't. You just at least for the next 20, 30 years, like once everyone has aged past it, and I'm obviously dead and all of it, and then you could just sort of like let him be a historical incident, so to speak, and his matches could just be there if people want to see him.
2. Reeking of dishonesty. And now back to levity with the curious case of Edge and Christian. Were they supposed to be best friends? Were they supposed to be brothers? Do you even think you know them? Something certainly reeks here, and it ain't of awesomeness. From Christian's WWE debut, it was said that he and his fellow Brood member were legit siblings, something that was continually parroted over the course of the next many years. There were even some humorous skits where Captain Charisma was ghosted by their grandma Edna, which was one of the reasons Christian ended up turning on the Rated R superstar in 2001. Fast forward to the 2010 draft, and Christian is giving an emotional speech, talking about how close the two were, and how he remembers their first meeting in 6th grade, and hold the fort! Just like that, Edge and Christian were no longer battling brothers, but best buds. And that's the actual truth of the matter, of course, as Jay
being
Rizzo
brothers
and
to
Adam
bros.
Copeland are not related by blood, but bonded by friendship and spandex and baby oil and all that good stuff. Number 1.
Essentially, they're the Sam and Dean of the WWE.
Revising the Warrior.
Oh, God.
In 2005, WWE released a hatchet job DVD called The Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. In it, the former WWE champion was roundly criticized and mocked by his former colleagues, then current stars, and even Vince McMahon himself. Jim Hellwig was on the outs with the company at the time and wasn't exactly making any friends with his outrageous hate-filled actions and statements, like cheering on Bobby Heenan's cancer diagnosis. Warrior would continue to be at odds with WWE until fences were finally mended in 2014. When Hellwig died just days after being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, the company quickly went to work in lionizing the face-painted superstar, including greenlighting a new, much more flattering documentary and establishing the Warrior Award in his honor. In this new documentary...
So apparently, like, after the Ultimate Warrior left WWE and disappeared from wrestling, I think he did some indie stuff. He might have went crazy in real life. We're not sure, because obviously you only know stuff secondarily from rumors and whatever. But there was some rumors that he got lost, like he became joined the militia. There was some rumors that he had drug problems, he had severe health problems. I mean, I don't know what was true, but he obviously burned a lot of bridges at the time. But again, he didn't. I mean, other guys did stuff just as bad in terms of burning bridges with other wrestlers. I mean, Shawn Michaels came back and everyone hated him in the 90s, you know? So he made the peace at the end, and it's good. You know, I'm glad they got it all together.
Released just 9 days after his passing, the Ultimate Warrior was portrayed as being a transcendent icon of the industry who had been perhaps misunderstood by his peers. The Self-Destruction DVD, as well as the resultant litigation, was briefly covered in the piece, but WWE swiftly buried the animosity and returned to a more positive tone. I mean, I'm all for letting bygones be bygones, but the total 180 performed here was as jarring as an Ultimate Warrior promo.
Yep. So that's 10 times WWE retconned their own stuff. So there could be tons and tons of performances, you know. Retcons, you know, again, nothing, like I said, those are the big ones. And obviously, the whole Owen Hart retcon, like Owen, it's almost like he wasn't doing that ring drop down thing for months beforehand or whatever, behind the scenes. You know, but it's part of the business where you just, a storyline goes for a while, and then years later, if you do another storyline I think it's good, you just retcon, because it's not like a sequence of movies where the continuity matters, you know. Anyway, that's been my reaction to the 10 times WWE Rewrote Their Own History. Like if you like, dislike if you dislike. My name is Matt. It's been Rebel 73. If you have any suggestions or questions below, type them out. Thank you. Have a nice day.